So on a daily basis, we have, agents that are contacting us from other countries. We have, people that are interested in starting a career in real estate, maybe making the move to Dubai, some from Europe, some from Australia, some from the US. It doesn't really, matter necessarily where they're from. And the question always obviously comes up of, should they start in sales or should they start in leasing? So do you think, based on your experience, some of you years, some of you months, is it the right thing to do to start in real estate, in leasing, and then build your way up?
It's a hard one actually, because all of us have started in leasing, so it's, of course we're drawn to say instantly you should start in leasing, but it depends what your objectives are. If you want to get a taste of how the business is, or if you want to be the selling sunset person and get listings for 2 million dirhams, because if you start in leasing, for sure you're not going to be dealing with properties exceeding 500,000 dirhams right away. The reason why is because you have to build a foundation and know the product straight away. So that's an advantage with leasing you have. You can go into so many towers and be there, and one thing is looking at floor plans, but when you're there you can say an 04 has this layout and 01 has this layout, and I could bring you on a tour of the marina and I'd probably give you the layout of probably 25, 30 buildings that I'm aware of. With sales, you'll get put in an area and you'll have maybe a selection of villas which you'll learn floor plans of, but you won't always have the opportunity to go in there because they're not always going to be for sale, but something is always for rent. So you have more of an advantage that you can learn the area quicker with leasing, but you're not going to have that opportunity to make 1 million dirhams in a month, because it's just not realistic with leasing.
But if you want to start making money as soon as possible, or start closing deals as soon as possible, from a turnaround point of view of getting a listing and making some money, leasing is a good start in that aspect.
What I said to Mary Rose was, with sales, the expectation that everyone always outlines is that you should expect not to make any money for 6 months. Not that it will happen, but it may happen. And with leasing, I said you shouldn't have the expectation to do a deal for your first 3 months. And I said 3 months because it took 3 months for me to do my first deal. And it can be quite trying on someone's attitude and their motivation when you do 2 months without not having a deal when you're brand new, because you're going to question whether you're doing everything right or wrong, and how can I do better, and then you'll see people like performing around you and why can't I be like that. But it's again a case of you have to crawl before you walk, and you've got to walk before you run. And if you're starting out somewhere brand new, like we would in life, you have to learn to crawl. So you can't just expect to get up and run around with the top performers in the office.
I think the fundamentals are learned in leasing. Taking somebody like Tariq, for example. Tariq smashed it last month, put ridiculous deals and figures on the board, but his all started from 7 years ago being a leasing broker. Now he's nurtured relationships for all these time. He's selling villas to the same guy 3 times, he's sold the same house 4 times. Now, I'm not going to say he wouldn't have been as successful in starting in sales, of course I'm not going to say that. But if you look around the room, a lot of the successful brokers were once in leasing. We speak to more people on a daily basis, we definitely meet more people. And I think the attitude is, everyone who's first come to Dubai want to rent usually. If people have a long-term goal here, will buy. If you've done the job effectively as a leasing broker, you'll be their first protocol when you go to buy. So I said, for example, Chris done 15 deals last month. I highly doubt anyone in sales will be doing 15 deals a month. So Chris already has serviced 30 clients in theory. So if he does that monthly, or does half of that a month, by the end of the year he's reached 100 people. Sales might do 4 or 5 big deals a year. Once the seller sells, he might move back home. He might not have any interest in the market. So I definitely would recommend leasing first. I think you get more hands-on time with clients, which helps.
What would you say is a realistic expectation of earnings for the first few months in relation to what you thought you would be making. So when you joined, you probably had an expectation in your mind, but what do you think is the most realistic expectation for somebody new in leasing?
Now that we're adapting and we're improving and the training's getting better and we've got a quality of brokers around us which are better. For example, the better the room is, the better you are. It's just simple. A better team obviously helps. I think people are now doing deals in their first month quite comfortably now. Or definitely in the first 2 or 3 it's changing. When I came on it was the 3 to 6 months, so you had to have maybe more money behind you. I think now you should easily be looking to maybe do, even say hitting target for 1 month over the 3 months. I'm not going to say you'll hit that in the first month or the second month, but if you do that over 3 months it's at least the confidence. Once you close one deal you close a second, once you close the second you close a fourth. So I think you shouldn't put too much pressure on it. If you do the fundamentals right, if you just service people correct, you can't close anything. I've probably lost as many deals as anyone has in the office, but then I've obviously closed more than most people as well. So I think if you just keep the basics right, as Chris said, walk first, then run.
For me, I think this was something like, again, I keep on saying to Mary Rose because I'm mentoring her now, but something that I made a mistake with when I joined my first company, and that I noticed that everybody tends to do now in a leasing or sales aspect, is they don't set themselves targets for anything other than doing a deal. So there's nothing there to motivate them in the short term other than the hope that they're going to close a deal. So what I've decided from my learning experience is that you need to have small like smart goals for every week. So for instance at Mary Rose, I've set her goals of how many calls and how many listings she needs to get and what she needs to do with those listings at the end of the week. If you ask someone who's new, they want 10 listings at the end of the week. In reality, you just need to get 2 or 3, and then at the end of the month, then you have 10. And 10 listings is more than enough for a new person to manage, because you have to learn how to manage 5 people in the week, your time, and doing all the work as well. And then the more experience you get, the more you can build on that as well.
I think, not interrupting Chris, it's also dependent on how hard you work. If you want to come and have the lifestyle going out every week and going to beach clubs, you're going to make less money. I think we probably make most of our money on a Friday and Saturday, definitely. So albeit it would be great to say, go to Zero Gravity this week, we're going to Barasti the week after. Me taking a Saturday off affects probably 50% of my earnings for a month, taking 4 days off. I'm not really prepared to do that. Now every once in a while it's nice. I think you should be aiming for leasing. I wouldn't be wanting to work for under £40,000-50,000 a year. I think that's quite doable. I think this year alone we should have more people hitting that figures. Now it's not going to come easy, it might not come in your first year, but people in the UK now aren't working. People don't really have much to do with their life at the moment with the whole COVID pandemic. We're all making more money than ever. So I think that's, again, it's not always about money, but with more deals comes more money, then comes a better lifestyle. I don't think you should set too ambitious a target in your first year. I think if you're quite honest about it and you think about it realistically, what you'd make in the UK, add a premium onto it, then when you do smash it, you've seen the benefits of being here and it will just keep progressing.
And one of the biggest also points coming from the UK is that the UAE is tax-free. So all of your income that you're making is tax-free at the end of the day. But at the same time, what you were saying about making realistic expectations, I have people that I speak to on a daily basis that, think that they're going to be making 100,000 dirhams in their first month, when everybody here has mentioned that it's very important to make sure that you have realistic expectations. Whether it's in the first month, my goal is to have 10 listings. You have to start with one target, and then eventually those 10 listings will, they will ensure your success in terms of getting leads, and those leads will then make sure that you're going to close a deal at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's not an overnight story. That's the best way to describe it. If you look, as I said, the best brokers in the room have been doing it for 7, 8, 9 years. Now when they started they were making less money than they are now, but they've seen the process, they've seen what the owners and the people above them were trying to do and trying to teach. Now Chris and I are making more money than we started. I'm sure it won't be long till Mary Rose is making more. It's just a process. I think the benefit of it, as you said, people have a misconception that Dubai is expensive to live. Of course it is, but so can London be. London can be as expensive, or so can probably Ireland or Edinburgh. If you're just smart about it, obviously your first 2 months don't rely on the lifestyle that the top earners are making. If you earn to have your first 6 months living quite, living quite easily and not going out for Nobu every once a week, or not going to Pier 7 every night for drinks, that will soon come in the later part of your real estate career. And as I said, it's all just a journey. If you do the first principle right, you'll see the building blocks coming up to being A, successful, and then B, recognised in the industry, which is also nice.
Yeah, that's kind of like a mistake I see from, I've been in Dubai 12 years, so anybody who comes new to Dubai has an expectation of a high salary, and they get sucked in to the nightlife because it's 7 days a week here, there's always people ready to go out, and it's quite pricey to go out. Alcohol is expensive here, dining out is expensive, taxis are, and it all adds up. And if you're coming into real estate where you don't have a salary, that means you have to do the work before you go get to enjoy that. But because myself and Liam do the work, when we do get a day off to go enjoy ourselves, we can go up we will go up a level on what we could have done before when we first arrived. So it's quite easy when you arrive to go out for a drinks deal or a meal deal.
Yeah, well, you try and compete with people you work with. They'll suggest a night out, and you'll think. I remember one of my first days, I think it was Matthew, Ricardo and Mark were going for drinks, and I thought I'll go out, and then you think that doesn't make sense, I'm working tomorrow, I'm still trying to turn myself into a success. They've done it and been successful, so they can afford to then go out on the Friday and Saturday. I think even some of the brokers we've seen, the ones that don't make it are the ones that want to live the lifestyle that they shouldn't be living. Yeah.
I think that, all of us have been, well, let's say some of us have been here longer than others. You've been here for 12 years. I've been here for 8 years. You've been here for 5 weeks. You've been here for a year and a half. And we've all struggled through the same things at the beginning of getting sucked into the Dubai lifestyle. We all come here for a job, we all get sucked into the lifestyle, and it's very important to set realistic expectations, like you said.
As you said, the biggest one is social media. If you look on, I follow a page, I think it's called Life in Dubai, and every week it's people on yachts or people in the Burj Khalifa, afternoon tea at the Burj Al Arab. If that's all you're thinking of, and you're not thinking of putting the graft in, then you'll last a month or two at best.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing for everybody is that everybody has to start somewhere. We've all gone through periods of time where you come to Dubai, you get sucked into the lifestyle, you start your job, your day-to-day duties, and then you don't necessarily make money, and you've spent some of your money living this Dubai lifestyle, and you have to eat, bread and cheese sandwiches for a few weeks and struggle a little bit and not go out, and then you close that deal, and then you get sucked into the lifestyle again, and it's like this routine for a few months and for almost maybe a year, and I think everybody goes through this period in their 3-4 month mark of living in Dubai where they think, is this for me? Is this the right career for me? Is this the right place for me? Am I making enough money? Am I living the lifestyle? I even had that. I had around the 3-4 month mark, I said, did I move to Dubai to live like this? Because I was eating bread and cheese sandwiches. And starting a career in real estate was difficult, but you look back and you're like, everybody has to go through that. That's a normal progression, the domino effect.
Yeah, I think the domino effect's the easiest way. Getting the first deal is a nightmare. But then look at some of the guys, like I think it was Harry done 5 deals in 4 months, but he was told he wouldn't make a deal in 6 months. So because you got that one doing the fundamentals right, he smashed out the park, came off mentoring, and then Bradley done a deal in 3 weeks, which is unheard of, because he done the things right. And it's as simple as that. If you make your calls, if you update your landlords, again, don't be afraid of mistakes. Like, you'll lose more deals than you'll close, but as long as you then don't get your head down, you realise what you've done wrong, and you just adapt to that, it's always going to work.
I think, at least in my opinion, with everybody that I've hired in the last 8-9 months, is that I'm a very realistic person, and everybody that's met with me and everybody that spoke to me, I don't try to set unrealistic expectations. While sometimes they speak to real estate companies and they tell them, you know, in your first month you're going to be making £10,000 in that month, when realistically you're really not. And I think everybody has to ask, you know, the right questions and do your own research at the end of the day. Thank you guys for tuning into Espace News today.